Hi, fifth grade. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about order of operations. So if you're putting this in your math notebook, make sure that you write it. It comes right after division. So I'm going to write order of operations. So that's what we're going to look at today. Write that in there. Okay, so here are some of the notes that we're going to take today for order of operations. If you are writing the notes, you can go ahead and pause the video and take these notes down. But I'm going to go over these with you so you understand what all of this means. So we're going to be talking about order of operations, and that's basically a set of rules that we use in math in order to solve expressions. Okay, so we have here GEMDAS is what we call it. You might have heard of PEMDAS, but we're actually going to call it GEMDAS because this G stands for grouping symbols, and it can be, you can see an expression with parentheses, braces, brackets, any of these types of symbols that you might see. Then the next one we have is exponents. So those of you that are just in regular fifth grade math, we are not going to look at exponents for fifth grade, but those of you in my pathway 2 that are taking sixth grade math as well, we will be looking at exponents and what that is. So exponents is just a tiny little number up here above another number. So this is that order that you're going to do whenever you're doing order of operations. The next one we have is multiplication and division. So you'll notice that I kind of grouped these here, and then I put a little star next to it. So whenever we're looking at multiplication or division, remember we're going to get away from using that x, because here, when I used the example in exponents, this x is known as my variable. So we're going to get away from using x, and we're going to look at the asterisk, we're going to look at the little dot right here in the middle, and we're going to look at parentheses. So these are going to be ways that we're going to identify when we are multiplying. So when you look here for multiplication and division, right here I wrote a little note. So whichever one comes first when you read left to right. So when we read, we read left to right. Okay, just like when we're looking at our math expressions as well. So whichever one of those comes first when you're reading left to right, that's the operation or the order you're going to do. And I'll show you an example. Then we have division. Those are the symbols for division. Addition and subtraction is going to follow that same rule. It's whichever one comes first when you're reading left to right. So let's look at what I mean by that. So in our acronym or GEMDAS, we're always going to ask ourselves, you can write this down, you can keep it handy with you, but we're always going to ask ourselves, do I have grouping symbols? Because that's the first thing we're looking for. If I have grouping symbols, that's the first thing I'm going to solve in my expression. So when I'm looking here, do I have any grouping symbols here in the expression 5 plus 6 minus 2? I do not. So now I'm going to look at the E. I don't have any exponents. Now I'm going to look at the M, multiplication or division. Do I have any of those? I don't. So now I'm going to look at the last order, addition or subtraction. Do I have either of those? I do. So when I'm reading from left to right, which one comes first, addition or subtraction? The one that comes first is addition. So I'm going to do that first. Okay, so then I have 5 plus 6. Well, what is 5 plus 6? That is 11. So this little caret that I'm putting here tells me that this is what I did first. I solved it, and I have 11. When you are finished, you're going to bring everything down that you did not use. So I did not use the minus 2. Now, all I'm left with is subtraction. So now I'm going to subtract. 11 minus 2 equals 9. So anytime we are solving, I want you to put a box around it or a circle around it. This helps whenever I'm looking at your work to find the answer here, right? So I don't have to go looking all over the page. The other thing I want you all to notice is look how nice and neat I am writing. Math is all about making sure that you're writing nice, neat, and very clearly. So let's look at the other example. So I have 12 divided by 3 times 2. So I'm going to look at my order of operations. So looking at my acronym, GEMDOS, do I have any grouping symbols? No. Do I have any exponents? No. Multiplication or division? Yes, I have that. So which one comes first when I'm reading left to right? Now this is important. Just because multiplication came first here, that doesn't mean you have to do that all the time. It's whichever one of these comes first. So if division came before multiplication, when I'm reading left to right, then I'm going to do that first, just like I see here. When I'm reading left to right, which one came first? Division. So I'm going to do that first. So 12 divided by 3, right? That's the same as how many groups of 3 are in 12. That is 4. Then I'm going to bring down the rest that I didn't use. I didn't use the times 2. Now I can solve that. What is 4 times 2? 4 times 2 is 8. And that's it. Okay, so that's what you are going to do today. So for today's lesson, we are not going to have grouping symbols or exponents. We're either going to have uh, expressions like this. Okay, so for today, I'm going to show you here. So it's very similar to what I just showed you. I'm just making it larger so you can see. 4 plus 8 times 7. Well, here it showed you, right? I had multiplication. So when I'm looking at order of operations left to right, I can see here that I do have addition, but in order of operations, that's not what comes first. So then I'm going to do 8 times 7. And then I want you to write down what 8 times 7 is. Then notice that they brought everything down that they did not use before. Then I'm going to do 4 plus whatever my product of 8 times 7 is. Then I'm going to add 4 plus the product of 8 times 7, and what does that equal? You're going to do that on this side, 42, okay? Then you're going to do the same thing here. You're going to use order of operations to help you solve. Here are these little brackets down here. So you can move the bracket and you can put it wherever you think it goes. So I will show you what that looks like. So if I think that this is first, then you're going to put the bracket here. And then you're going to solve and tell me what that is. And then you're going to bring everything down. And then you're going to tell me what do I do next. Okay, so here I should be getting my answer, right? So that is what you're going to do for today, for order of operations.